Hello there, and welcome again to this GED live screencast at Phuket PALS with me, Teacher Marco. And I am here again, of course, to help you with your reasoning through language arts subject of your GED test. And this is the imagine that seventh video regarding our topic, testing basic English usage. I mentioned to you that it's very important to make sure that you're following standard English in the GED test. And today I will teach you about the hot topic or controversial topic, which is subject-verb agreement. You might hear a lot of rules about this. Some say it's only a few, some say it's 10, but we all have our interpretation, but there is still a standard rule of which to follow when we are dealing with our subjects and our verbs in a sentence. Okay, so before we begin with our topic, I highly encourage you to hit on the subscribe button below. Also click on the bell icon, the like button as well. And don't forget to share this video because we would like to help out and reach out to a lot of students who are in need of assistance regarding their GEDs. Alright, so let's begin. So imagine that if you haven't seen our videos regarding these topics, please go ahead and check the list of our videos and do watch them. So we are already here. We're almost done. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics left after this. Alright, let's begin. So let's fire away. Of course, in a sentence, we do have our subject and we do have our verb. Our subject may be a pronoun or a noun, and our verb may be an action verb or a helping verb or a linking verb. Okay, so it must agree with each other, and we have to follow certain rules regarding that. So the first on our list, rule number 1, a verb agrees with its subject and number. Singular subject takes singular verbs. Or if you have a singular subject, your verb must have an S. Of course, with the exception of subjects I and you, because we cannot say you stays or I stays. Of course, that's an exception. So opposite, there is an old saying that opposites attract. So the rule for singular and plural verbs is just the opposite of the rule for singular and plural nouns. Remember this, when you match subjects and verbs, you might guess that stays and smells are plural because they end with or they end in S. They aren't. Okay, both stays and smells are singular verbs if they have an S. Okay, with the exception, of course, if your subject is I and you. Okay, alright, so if you take a look at the example here, the car is singular, so the verb must have an S. Okay, the flower is singular, the verb must have an S. If it's plural, then no S for the verb. Okay, rule number 2, the number of subject, singular or plural, is not changed by words that come between the subject and the verb. Let's take a look at this one. One of the eggs is broken. We see here off the eggs. Okay, off the eggs is a prepositional phrase. So the subject one and the verb is are both singular, one and is. So mentally omit the prepositional phrase. to make the subject-verb agreement easier to make. So that's a technique. If you're confused, try to remove the prepositional phrase in between, and you will be able to match them properly or agree them. Third rule, some subjects always take a singular verb even though the meaning may seem plural, like the words everybody. It sounds like we have a lot of people, but they are always considered to be singular verbs. They always have singular verbs, okay? So all of these words, each, someone, either, anyone, neither, nobody, one, somebody, no one, anybody, everyone, and everybody, all of these words are considered to be singular subjects. Someone in the game was hurt, not were. Neither of the men, but we have neither here, is working, not are, okay? Because when you see neither, you must use singular verbs. May it be linking verb or action verb. Rule number 4, the following words may be singular or plural depending upon their use in a sentence. Some, any, all, most. So always these words, some, any, all, and most, they depend on the noun, the other noun on the sentence. Most. News is singular even though it has an S. That's good. Most of the flowers. Flowers is plural here, so we say were. All of the pizza is singular, so we say was. Children is plural, so we use were. Okay? Understood? I'm sure that's easy to understand. So, regarding these words, some, any, all, and most, we follow the noun in the sentence. It's different from this because they are by default singular. Let's go to rule number 5. If you use conjunctions like and, it's automatically plural because you're talking about two subjects. But if you're using or nor, you take the verb, you take the verb that agrees with the last subject, or take the noun, or take the last subject that is before the verb. So for example, here Bob and George are leaving, automatically that's plural. But for nor, George is singular, so I say is, but the second example, his friends, is plural, it's are. So we always follow the noun that is near the verb. Okay? So even though if I say, neither his friends nor George is leaving, still, even if I have the word friends here, I will follow which one is near the verb, the helping verb. Okay? Rule number 6, there are never subjects. There and here are never subjects. In sentences that begin with these words, the subject is usually found later on in the sentence. So there were 5 books on the shelf. So the verb comes first rather than the subject. 5 books is the subject here. But were comes first, okay? Because if the sentence starts with there and here, okay? So it's confusing, but if you see that the sentence is starting with there and here, always take a look at the subject after the verb, okay? Let's go to sentence number 7. These are what we call as collective nouns. Collective nouns are group. Alright? A collective noun is a noun used to name a whole group. Like, for example, army, crowd, orchestra, audience, flock, public areas. Now, most of the time they are considered singular. Okay, like this. The orchestra is playing as a hit song. But there are some exceptions, like the orchestra were asked So if we're talking about the individual members of the orchestra, then now we use a plural verb to give their musical backgrounds, because not all people in the orchestra have the same musical backgrounds. They have different. Okay, so here's what you have to remember. Try to read the sentence and take into consideration the context, because not all of the time that collective nouns are considered singular. Okay? By the way, I only prepared 10 rules. I'm sure some of the people in the World Wide Web might say that there are things that you forgot to mention. Well, if there are, then please do comment down below, okay? 8. Expressions of time, money, measurement, and weight are usually singular when the amount is considered one unit. Like $5 is too much to ask. We don't say are. 10 days is, we don't say 10 days are. 10 days is. Because it's talking about time. It's talking about money. Alright. So on occasion, however, these terms are used in plural sense. There were 30 minutes to count down. It's just something, it's a colloquial sentence that was adopted to be accepted. Okay, but most of the time it's singular if we're talking about expressions of time, money, measurement, and weight. Rule number 9. Some nouns, while plural in form, are actually singular in meaning, because we don't have words like mathematic or physic. Of course, they are spelled this way. So they are, they look like plural, but it's still gonna be treated as singular. It's because of their spelling. Measles, acrobatics, physics, home economics, calisthenics, gymnastics, aesthetics, and all of these words that end in S. Okay. And lastly, rule number 10. Helping verbs don't and doesn't must agree with the subject. Doesn't is for singular. Don't is for plural. Except, for example, I and you. That's an exemption, okay? Alright, so don't and doesn't. Doesn't for singular, don't for plural, except for I and you. There you go. I hope that I was able to help you with this 10 simple rules regarding subject-verb agreement. And if you're curious about our programs and the school where we are teaching, which is Phuket PALS, please do visit our website. That's phuketpals.org, or go ahead and check out our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/PhuketPals. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good day. Bye-bye.